what they call a failed nation. We are faced with a failed nation. It reminds me of I think the IBB when they said the economy will collapse. And it really is not something physical when you see the building collapsing. The failed nation syndrome is a little bit there. We are number 15 by 2009. We are number 19 by 2008. We were number 21 by 2007 when we were trying to do third session, third time, and so on. Then we improved slightly because rule of law came in. But I'm sure if you go to foreign policy to check the state of Nigeria, would probably be maybe number 12 or number 9. The list, the higher you go, the smaller the number is. Okay? So it is a very bad thing. And I think that the summary is enough is enough. We need to also follow the substitution thing. Many more people who believe that we need to change the society must come out and aspire. Two things I will just say quickly. I think we were in when your wife was being given an award, it was a church ceremony. It was an old school ceremony in the church. And the bishop was very vocal. As a governor, he would talk anyhow to you. And he asked him, Dr. Mimiko, is politics a dirty game? Everybody waited in the church to find out what he would say. And of course, he said what God wanted him to say, and he said, it is not a dirty game. It should not be a dirty game. Killing should not be what you do when the time is right. And I'm happy to hear from Senator Mamora here saying the same thing. We need to make up our minds, and we need to go ahead and make sure that we change. Maybe no longer for us, but our children need their fathers, their grandfathers to have made that change so they can live in a better place. And tenants of the house, as an aspiring tenant of that same house, but it's the same house that houses the Senate. Yes. And I have the thought, without offending the Senate, that different chambers. We need some mathematics things to add up my own contribution. I am not following the footsteps of the other people. I have little money to spend, and then I also will not mind saying it in public. I will buy just one copy, that's all I need, for 50,000 for myself. But in my senatorial district, there are 72 wards. So I will buy at the first copy of which is one copy for each of the 72 wards. And we have 6 local governments, so that means 78 copies, in addition to my own copy, which is 79 copies. And to be sure that my governor takes one copy to his town, not just to the government house, I'll buy one copy for him. So I will buy 50 copies for 50,000 plus whatever the face value of the book is or the other in the Senate chambers. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to recognize the presence of Honorable Ade Adegbenjo, who was a colleague of Kejo in the House of Representatives.
I actually came here to support a friend and my former president, Dr. Wale Okedio, the former president of the Association of Nigerian Authors. I came here because I was determined to purchase a copy at least of this book. Because I've heard about it, we talked about it, that it was going to come out. And I was determined to get a copy of it. I'm not a politician, but I am fully aware of the politics going on in this country. I've followed it closely in the newspapers, in the media, and I must tell you that I and many of my colleagues in the university system are very much distressed about what is happening in the country. it even in the classroom. And I have listened to the people here who spoke from the political angle, and I fully understand what they were saying, and I give my support to it. Enough is enough, and I think that the time has come for us in this country to be able to say what we want. One of the things I intend to do, and I want to encourage the publisher to make sure that this book is distributed widely in the country. And we would also like to have copies of this book in our bookshop. And I am going to teach it in the second semester. I think that students need to be aware of what it is.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols duly observed. I'm really very surprised that I've been called upon to come and say something about this particular book. And I suppose that I've come a long way with the author. He's not only my friend, he's also my in-law. I'm married into each other at certain levels. I haven't said that. The first thing that struck when I came to the fore was his past audience. And I said, there we go again, that the book culture in Nigeria is really very, very low. Nobody really cares about reading books. And if you listen very well to the musicians of the 70s, they said it when they said Ala Korea Kada, you know the rest of it. But when I came into the hall, Dr. Abati was reading the book, and I just thought I was here to just come and settle down, relax, and have a good morning. I found that I was in the middle of a funeral ceremony, funeral for the Nigerian state. And I'm not saying anything new, but how do outsiders look at us? I once met a South African who said something about Nigeria. He said in Nigeria, according to him, please, he said the exception is the norm. So when you listen to that review and the drama scale, you discover that in Nigeria, really, the exception is the norm. Secondly, I was in Oxford some 3 years ago, and I met a French professor. And he said something very, very interesting, which I've never forgotten. He was supposed to talk about what he called the threat potential to Nigeria. And you know what he said? He said the threat potential to Nigeria is Nigeria itself. Wow. And I was stunned. So what I'm saying is that outsiders, the way they look at us, they are thinking that, okay, this country is already on its way to the grave. Having said that, already in political science, which I teach, we always thought of the non-option, which is that there have been no coups again in Nigeria. But these days, we are hearing differently. And it is very, very difficult. Because at the end of the day, there are no saviors even within the grave. But if and when they come in, we then discover that the transition from what we call Megad to Megida is a very, very short. Having said that, I discovered that the chief value of this book for me, I've not read it, is that you discover that there is a link between what we call fiction and reality. And to that extent, I teach a course, and I've already pledged already. I teach a course. Pledged not in the monetary sense, because you know I'm a teacher. I teach a course which is titled Ecology of Public Administration. And I know that my students will find it very, very useful in terms of trying to come to grips with the day-to-day reality, which is really absent from books. And having said that, let me just close by saying that people have talked here about the docility of Nigerians, the lack of civic rigor, and the rest of that. And I think Nigeria cannot engage in that because of certain historical dynamics. If you remember what Zip said, he said that Nigeria got its independence on the platter of gold. And to that extent, you find that capacity to fight, to be at the barricades, we do not have that. People have mentioned Wole Soyinka. People are Wole Soyinka's the years of childhood. We discovered that he was in the kind of activism from childhood. We do not have it. So what is the solution? I think I see a very, very long tunnel ahead of us. And like I said, what I've come for, unwittingly perhaps, It's a funeral ceremony. But I do hope that at the end of death, probably there'll be a river.